Hey everybody, this is Perch. I got a lot of, I would say negative mails. It's been a while though. I think things kind of settled down a little bit. I know that I was featured on some live streams back in the day about, what a cuck I am or whatever, something. Um, but I haven't gotten some very angry, like passionate angry mails in a while from any direction, from either side. X-Men fans seem to have calmed down. It is weird. I think we're going through this collective, like the X-Men fan base is coming to this weird conclusion that they're not going to just get whatever they want 100% of the time, and there's some disillusionment going on. I think it started with the cancellation of X Factor, and then the Leah Williams didn't write victim stuff exactly the way some people wanted, and it's like, and maybe Hickman. I think it's also a number of people are saying, "Hey, it seems like Hickman is stepping back," and the response was, "No, you're stupid. You're paranoid. That's absolutely not happening." And then Hickman stepped back, and it's like, "Oh, okay." So it's kind of settled everybody down. On the other end, I do feel, and maybe I'm completely delusional where this is concerned, but other than some flare-ups from time to time, it seems like the people who are irritated with the type of content that Marvel and DC put out have kind of figured out that there is other content for them to buy, and that they're just kind of doing the healthy thing, which is saying "F this, I'm out," and they're just buying whatever it happens to be, indie comics, crowdfunding, manga. It's a way more healthy place to be than constantly being angry at something. But whatever it happens to be. But I did this video on Sana Amanat, and it definitely got people angry again. And but what's weird is the anger seemed to it was this disjointed anger. It was like, so basically my premise was, I don't think a lot of people understand what Sana Amanat actually does, which frankly includes people within Marvel, I'm sure. But more that she is not a central figure to Marvel. She's VP of New Character Development. She's been kind of MIA for a little over 2 years now. She does a lot less interviews, and she's just not the kind of core figure that they were using in 2017, 2018. It's been quiet, which is factual. Like, you can just go search. There's less. But she became a bit of a boogeyman to a lot of people who believe she was kind of core for running Marvel off a cliff. And a lot of the response I got back saying that we're angry, saying I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm talking about. They used this very interesting logic approach, which was, you claim in your video that she is not central to a bunch of these SJW type opinions. Prove that she's not. It's weird. That's a weird, prove something that doesn't exist is always a weird frame of argument, and it's a pointless one. I think if you believe that somebody like Asana Amanat is somewhere in the back of the company pulling strings, then as a conspiracy, it's hard to disprove that conspiracy. You're going to believe it, and if that's what makes you happy, I mean, go knock yourself out. But the kind of the bigger point, and I don't know, maybe I didn't make it well in that video, is that there's very, very, very little in comics that is an individual decision, that where one person has a huge sway over parts of the business. There are a couple exceptions. I think the ones that come to mind, Todd McFarlane in his little corner of the world, meaning, not all of Image, but in his Spawn universe, Spawn kind of material, he does, he is very in control as a single individual. He has people to help him, absolutely, but he very much Todd's responsible for his world. Robert Kirkman is another one who, by and large, is very hands-on, very responsible for his world. Again, not to say there aren't people helping him. Of course there are. But it is he very much is more hands-on than, say, Marvel. At Marvel, it's a very different story. You have a lot of people, from Joe Quesada to C.B. Cebulski to David Gabriel, yes, Sana Amanat, Tom Brevoort. You have a lot of different individuals. And I don't say this. This is always, I get confused and frustrated because I can't tell. I mean, I'm just going to be honest here. I can't tell if the people commenting are being disingenuous or dumb. And I don't mean to insult. Well, maybe I mean to insult a couple of people with that, but uh, I saying that when you work for a company, many of the decisions are a group effort, not a sole individual. That first of all, that is not a hot take. That is that is everywhere. That is the most benign take in the world. But at the same time, saying that does not absolve everyone from guilt. And this is the kind of some of the mails I got that were so puzzling, and some of the comments in other videos to say, oh, so you say that, like I've done some videos saying, hey, before you go crap all over the writers of comic books, remember that there was an editor there, or editors with an S, who were approving all this stuff, and in many cases, very involved in the decision. A lot of writers, I'm just telling you facts. When they're asked to pitch for a book, they're told to pitch within a certain box. They're told to, like, hey, we're looking for, a new comic with Jane Foster. Send your pitch, and the writer will do it. And then the comic comes out, and people hate it. And then they're like, this writer is trying to push this character on us. And it's like, there were other people involved. Again, this is not a hot take. This is a reality take. And I think if you're hearing that, if like for right now, if you're listening and you're already starting to type, oh, so you say that the writers have no responsibility for a bad story, then again, I have to believe you're either being disingenuous or dumb, because it's not what I'm saying at all. Of course, somebody who writes a bad story wrote a bad story. It's just that it's often a team effort to deliver that bad story to you. And why I think this is such a major, major point, and something that is important to really digest, is that this is core to how not just frankly every business works, but in comics, if you're going to push for change, if you're going to want to figure out how to get better comics, or you're going to want to get, maybe selfishly, you don't want to make comics, but you want to get better comics, you have to look at more than just one single name. You have to look at a group. Remember, if you will, 2 years ago, Jonathan Hickman came onto the X-Men, and people were like, finally, this comic is going to be great because Jonathan Hickman writes great stuff. Hickman's a wonderful writer, and there's no way this could possibly go bad because Hickman is completely in control. I remember saying at the time, hey, Hickman is bringing in several other writers to work with him. Hickman has an editor, Jordan White, and there are assistant editors in there too. Keep in mind, Hickman's not just coming in saying, with like a gun, saying, this is a comic I'm writing, bitches, and you're going to take what I give you. That's not how it works. That's not what's actually going on. And any adult understands this. But there were a lot of people. You can go back and look at the videos and look at some of the comments. A lot of people who hard disagreed. That, no, I don't know. I mean, what's funny is there are some artists who are, I think, doing crowdfunding now, who have still they have comments up in those videos like, you don't understand how the business works. The writer has full control over everything. It's like, no, they don't. Now, 2 years later, we're seeing that, Jordan White is doing the interviews. He's talking about how plans have changed, how other writers have come in, how they've had to adjust things, how they've had to move things around for events. It turns out it is a team effort. But like I said, saying it's a team effort does not mean, well, there's no one to blame, so I guess we're all just going to have to live with it. Of course not. You're being dumb. You don't have to. First of all, you don't have to live with anything. Don't buy it. Don't. If it smells bad, don't buy it. Like, my God, what are you doing? But at the same time, and this is a weird thing because I know I'm nice guy Perch to a lot of people. And I guess what I'm saying here is, if something is irritating you, you should be mad at more people. I mean, to the outrage channels, I mean, if you really kind of listen to what I'm saying here, I'm saying you've got way more targets you can go after. That is not what I'm saying, but it's you don't have to limit yourself to just one person. You got lots of people you can piss on. It's important to understand this because comics are often my opinion, and this is an area where when we do finally get around to doing the Mark Millar interview, great question to ask him. It is. I think that comic books often suffers from a death by committee kind of behavior, particularly at the big two. It's probably why I found a lot more excitement reading indie books, because it is, like Todd, like Kirkman, like Millar, for that matter. You have people who are getting to tell their vision, their story, and there's not a six-person gauntlet of forming this comic by committee. And I do think that's a major problem. I actually think one of the ways that potentially DC or Marvel could be helped in a major way, because every now and then, you see these companies. I mean, the start of Hickman's run was more run by Hickman. Hickman was putting the stuff on the board, and he was delivering it, and it felt better. The comics felt good. We've interviewed Jeff Thorne on this channel talking about Green Lantern, and he's talked about how he's had a lot of autonomy to tell the story he wants to tell. And I think that's always better because it's more pure. If you hate the writer and their style, then you can immediately nope out. It doesn't get convoluted with a lot of other things, but you know what you're going to get. If you like the writer, you're going to get something more pure out the other end of what the writer's trying to show you. So I think that this is a recipe. If you're Marvel or DC, I think one of the things that would be great for you to do is to figure out a format where, the editor can certainly be a traffic cop, but when you have a team, meaning a team being a writer and whatever artists are assigned, when you have a system that's more or less working, as the editor, shift your responsibility to be, how do I, almost like a project manager or product manager in a tech company, you should be let me clear out the obstacles for you. Let me try and take care of a lot of these tasks that get in the way and confuse telling a great story. That's where the mentality should be. That's where that's the best role. If you have somebody like a Jonathan Hickman, and you get the sense that Jonathan Hickman may want to come in and do a Legion of Superheroes take. Don't convolute it by having a committee in there trying to do all these things. I suspect that one of the things that we're going to come to the conclusion of, maybe years from now, with this new X-Men reboot, is that there was a good core idea to the comic, to what was being told, and it got too many people in the mix. The X-Men office that they bragged about, the X-Slack, and some of these tools, it got too many voices into the system. It got too many people sharing ideas. And while it sounds good on paper, hey, all of us were pitching in and all of us were coming up with good ideas, it resulted in a more watered down product. I suspect for those who aren't already saying that, by 2024, 2025, I think there's going to be this aha moment that will come to people to say, we should actually back away from some of this and have more discrete ownership, and get rid of some of these, because we got too many voices now. We have too many people. We have too many cooks in the kitchen, and as a result, we're getting we're just getting kind of a mess. I think that's the aha moment that's coming. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because it's always weird to me. We create these demons in our minds. San Amanat definitely being one, where it's like, this person is responsible for every single thing in the world possibly being wrong with comics, and then push comes to shove, Sana Amanat moves on to another job, and people are like, oh, now everything's going to be fixed, and then it's not, and there's confusion. And I think that's key here. Remember, if you will, that Axel Alonso gets removed from Marvel. And do you remember the celebrations? People are like, no, it's finally, we're getting back to the Jim Shooter, CB Cebulski. He loves fans. This is going to be the golden age of Marvel. And I think it took all of like 3 months for that bubble to burst. And it's because they were putting too much emphasis on a single individual. That's just not how the world works. And so again, by saying it's a group, it doesn't mean you're absolving everyone from blame. It means you're acknowledging that more than one person is responsible for things. And in particular with Sana Amanat, I mean, that's a more minimal role than people realize. I'm just trying to tell you, it is. If you're of the opinion that Marvel has gone off track culturally and are doing the wrong things, then you're going to need to look more broadly. than just one individual, than just Amanat. Because Amanat is going to move on. If I'm predicting in the next 24 months, Amanat will have moved on to do something else. And if you're banking on that moment being this return to glory, it's not going to happen. Sorry about that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, comments below. Sorry for calling you dumb. If well, I'm half sorry, to be honest. Thanks for listening.